up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're back at one of my favorite parking lot locations because guess what? There is a small SUV on the scene from Volkswagen that's getting a lot of attention. This is it. This is a 2022 VW Taos. Our particular one is an SE trim with 4Motion. What does that mean? That means that this bright blue small SUV has all-wheel drive. But before we get into it, let's talk about what's going on here. The people's car, Volkswagen. Most people would think about the Beetle, the Bug, the Bus, even a GTI before they think about this vehicle. And it makes sense because those vehicles have a lot of history with them. This is new to the VW lineup. This falls, believe it or not, in the subcompact SUV segment. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, Joe, are you high? Because that looks like a big SUV. Guess what? I'm high on life, but second of all, this is right on the cusp of being a compact SUV. So what does this go up against? Vehicles like the Kia Seltos, the Hyundai Kona, the Nissan Kicks, vehicles like those. But what I want to do is I want to focus on another newcomer to the subcompact segment, which is also on that cusp of becoming a compact SUV, the new Toyota Corolla Cross. So why don't we dive into this bright Smurf blue Volkswagen Taos, see what you get for the money, and then see, is it better, a better subcompact SUV than the Toyota Corolla Cross? Let's go ahead and find out with our 2022 Taos. Right off the bat, the style. The great news about it, it looks like a Volkswagen. It almost looks like a smaller Tiguan. And I think they did that on purpose. At the front of the business, on the SE trim, you are gonna get LED headlights. You do also get LED daytime running lamps. You'll notice as you drop down, you have functional, massive corner air curtains. They look sporty, they got some gloss black, and with our Smurf blue, it really pops in the Florida sun. Then you'll notice some other textured design, which is in a way looking like a vent. I'm not really digging it. I wish they would have went something a little bit different. So we're gonna zonk this lower flat black area. But other than that, I am liking the way that they shape the gloss black around the corner air vent. Now, as we come across that center grille, Volkswagen, the people's car, so much history within one badge there. You have your horizontal slots. One is gonna be chrome, the rest is flat black, and then you have chrome again with some gloss. There's that fake vent area. I like what they did in the bottom portion, just not right here. Why not just make this smooth? Why did this have to be anything else? But you do have functionality on the lower end. And then of course this flat silver, which kind of outlines the opening down there. Comparing this to the Corolla Cross, like I said, I think the Corolla looks a little bit more rounded, not so hard edged like this Volkswagen Taos. When you get up onto the hood looks like a baby version of the big Atlas. So you have these very clean vertical lines, a nice kind of rise on each side, and then everything else just kind of strongly goes towards the A-pillars. Like I said, a mixture of Tiguan, a mixture of Atlas in a smaller size if you don't need those bigger SUVs. When you come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. So just like on the Corolla Cross, you got 3 different wheel options, 17, 18, and 19. On our SE trim, which falls right in the sweet spot of all the different trims, top trim is a SEL, you're gonna get these nice gloss black 18-inch wheels. So right in the middle, not 17, not 19, 18-inch wheel. I think they work well with the bright blue. And then you do have some flat black, and it's not bothering me too much because of the price point that we're trying to reach at. We'll talk more about price, especially when comparing it to the Corolla Cross. Now, as we work our way down, they do a great job with the Taos name badge, and I do like the way they bring some of this shiny chrome trim into the actual door on both sides. You're gonna get raised roof rails, nice bright silver, get your crossbars, and what's awesome about this size of vehicle is that if you're putting a kayak up here or something, it's easy to get everything strapped down instead of you having to get a step ladder. You do have color matched on the mirror caps, color matched on the door handles, and they bring up the flat black just high enough to where it doesn't become too obtrusive on the side of the vehicle. All the body lines are nice, clean, crisp, and sharp, as you would come to expect from a German brand. You have some shiny bright metalwork just on the bottom, a gloss black shark fin antenna, and our SE trim has a panoramic sunroof. Wait until we show you that from the inside out. And then coming around to the rear, nice long low roof spoiler. You know how I feel about these wipers, but you know what, at this price point, we're gonna leave it alone. But I do like the nice low roof spoiler. I also like the way they do their taillights at Volkswagen. LED taillights, your SE badge, Taos, 4Motion lets everybody know that you have all-wheel drive. The one thing, and you know what I'm gonna say back here that's gonna get a zonk, the 5-finger test. Fake exhaust on both sides. I don't even know what the point of that is. They could have just saved all that money and just left it smooth. Same thing with this design that they took from the front. Just leave it smooth. That's all we need. I like the way they took the gray though. Nice little bit of gray along the bottom on that rear portion. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk horsepower numbers with this new Taos. All right guys, we got the hood open. You do have a prop rod. The Corolla Cross also has a prop rod. Underneath the hood, you're looking at a 1.5 liter inline 4. Now, it does have a little bit smaller displacement than the Corolla Cross because the Corolla Cross has a 1.6 liter engine, but the great news is that this one is turbocharged. You're looking at a 1.5 liter turbocharged inline 4, 158 horsepower, 184 pound-feet of torque. Because we have all-wheel drive, it's made it to a 7-speed DCT and not an 8-speed automatic like the front-wheel drive Taos. 0 to 60 in about 7.4 seconds, top speed 125 miles per hour, MPGs 25 in the city, 32 on the highway, and the vehicle weighs in around 3,244 pounds. Underneath the hood, I like the way there's no engine cover. You can kind of see really what the engine looks like and where the turbo's located. But other than that, it's gonna make it drive down the road. We'll have to wait and see how good it drives. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the interior first and see what are the big changes with this Taos. All right guys, we're inside this 2022 Volkswagen Taos. I know you're saying to yourself, well Joe, obviously one big factor is gonna be price. And I would have to agree with you, and that's the interesting thing, is that some of these subcompacts, they're getting pretty pricey. Even though they're bringing a lot, they're still getting pretty pricey for the segment. So MSRP, since you're asking, I'm here to tell you, with the 4Motion, and remember the all-wheel drive is around a $1,200 option, you're looking around $31,000 MSRP for this Taos SE. Now remember, there is an SEL trim, but I think that for the price, you're getting more for the money for the SE. But let's see how it stacks up to the Corolla Cross, to the door panels. Now what's interesting is that you have a little bit of soft black up top, but then around the actual switchgear for the door locks, that's a darker blue, believe it or not. Kind of interesting. You don't see that very often. It does a good job of mixing in some color. You got the gray back portion that's soft. Armrest is black. Not really the softest, but the good news is no gloss black anywhere. Door pocket is a great size. You could easily get, I would say, 6 ears of corn in there, plus a big old jar of butter. So that when you go to barbecue that corn, you could melt that butter and just go to town on the corn of the cob. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, there's more of that blue finish with the gray. Hard touch on all 3 levels, at least on the dash there. But I know most people would say, well, Joe, that doesn't bother me. If it doesn't bother you, I'm not even gonna pay any more attention to it. Infotainment system, standard is gonna be your 6.5 inch, which is what we have. You can get an 8-inch screen. You could go into your vehicle status and settings, tire pressure monitor. So it's got some nice clean graphics. This one does not have navigation, but of course it has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You could go back into your different menu, your car setups, and let me just swipe for you so you can see all the different apps. Very nice and easy to figure out. Working your way down, you do have heated seats, standard climate control, so you got your temperature gauge, and you got your blower fan switch, wireless charging, 2 USB-Cs, and a 12 volt. This is gonna control that 7-speed DCT. Nice silver start-stop button. We got our mode selector knob for the different modes. And then I like the way there's no gloss black. It's all flat black. You got a little bit of a Tic Tac holder, 2 cup holders, your standard Volkswagen key fob, nothing really flashy here. You do get remote start though, which is nice. I do like the soft armrest, which is great. Open it up, and easily you could put, I would say, 7 legs, chicken legs, from this whole Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket. You could put about 7 of those in there. And then going back to the shifter, I want to throw it in reverse for you so I can show you the backup camera. Almost forgot that. There's your semi-clear resolution on the backup camera. And then to wrap it off, we're going to go straight to the seats. Seats, it's a mixture of this like almost like suede material with the cloth and the faux leather on the outside. Manual adjustment for the passenger. I get electric assist over here. And then like I promised, you do have this panoramic sunroof. A little slow on the shade, but it does go all the way back, which is a nice touch. And it is one touch. You just touch it once and it closes up nicely. But why don't you come over here? I got a flat bottom steering wheel with the mighty Volkswagen badge I want to show you. Coming over. All right, guys, we're behind the wheel of this Taos. You do get a tasteful, stylish aluminum sill plate with the Taos name and some mighty fancy floor mats with the Taos name and some white trim around the outside. That's an extra 5 horsepower in my book when it comes to fancy floor mats. You do have your easy to figure out seat controls, and there's that flat bottom steering wheel, manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel, flat black on the buttons, very tasteful, very nice stitching, good quality. And then check out the modes. I'm gonna go through the different modes here. So you're gonna have your snow mode, you of course have sport, you got your off-road. Really love the graphics, nice to have that. And then on top of that, you got a large digital display in the center with that massive tachometer. And then you could actually change it up and go through different things. So like if you want your compass there, you can put that in the center. We can go back. How about elevation? Not much to show because we're in Florida and we're pretty much at ground zero. So destination info, we have nowhere to go right now. We're here with you on Raiti's Rides. And then you can even do like gear display. So kind of weird how nothing is active, but there we are, we're in park. So we got that good to go. Everything else is gonna be on the side with your digital bar graph for your cooling and your fuel. But you know what? If you'll notice, I got a lot of room up here and I'm 6 feet tall. Let's go ahead and get in the back seat and see how your passengers are gonna like this compared to the Corolla Cross. All right guys, back seat time. And you know the way they shape the roof line, even with the panoramic sunroof, I actually have more headroom in here in the back seat than I do up front. Now you're gonna get that soft touch material all the way around. What's interesting is that if you look at the depth of the pocket, it's not a very deep pocket. So this would be a perfect travel kit. Put your toothbrushes, maybe your razor, maybe a compact and your makeup. You can keep that on this portion of the seat for when you're traveling. You got your rear AC vents, and then you could keep a couple eyeliner pencils back here, and there's one USB-C. So whoever else is back here with you, you're gonna have to fight them for that one, but at least you got one to fight over. Some vehicles don't even have any. I got my own pocket. You know what I'm gonna put in here. I'm not putting any toothbrush. I'm putting a freaking hoagie sub because I'm freaking starving. Put 2 of those in there, but bam, 2 12-inch subs. I'm going double meat, eat fresh. Armrest, just enough room to call it an armrest. Because if this was any skinnier, it'd be called a cup holder rest. Because there wouldn't be any place to put your arm. And I like the way they did the same stylish material and stitching just like up front. They did it for the rear seats. And you got your fantastic floor mats. What's kind of cool about these, I noticed, is that you could actually take them and throw them as a Frisbee. So that's kind of cool. But why don't we go ahead, let's check out the cargo area because I want to go to the park and throw some Frisbees around with our Volkswagen Taos. All right guys, time to check out the cargo space. What's great about this SUV, it proves that big things come in small packages because when you open it up, there is no electric assist, but what you're greeted to is 33 cubic feet of space. That's with the seats up. You'll notice just how low the cargo floor is from the inside of the headliner so you can get those bigger mountain bikes and whatnot. Underneath the cargo floor, you do have your spare and some hiding places for some snacks in case you're supposed to be watching that diet, but you still want to have your snacks too. You can hide them out. We're going to fold down the seats very simply, push on the buttons on top, and then you flip them down. on both sides. And that's gonna allow you to go ahead and do that Costco run and get just about any of the large items that they have there. I know right now they have a beef brisket that's supposed to be like 227 ounces. You could get a few of those back here. Plus you get a 12 volt. So if you need to get out the electric grill, throw that big old brisket on there and chow down at your favorite park, you could do it with the Taos. But why don't we go ahead, let's do what I like to do. Let's go on throttle and see how it drives for 2022 from Volkswagen. All right, guys, we're in this 2022 Volkswagen Taos SE with the all-wheel drive 4Motion system. Right away, I think the thing that I love the most about the interior are the seats. They're very comfortable, they're very supportive, especially with people that have longer legs like myself. Also, the way that the dash and the steering wheel are set up is that you have a nice large open area where you can clearly see the digital display. Sometimes vehicles, depending on how you like to have your steering wheel, you can't see the display very well, but everything is super clear in the center. I do have it in sport mode, and it's easy to use that mode selector knob right by the base of the shifter. And then driving the vehicle, it's the perfect size really, especially if you are doing a lot of daily commuting on regular city streets. It's got good proportions, but you also have plenty of interior space. Now, one of the things after driving it a little bit that's kind of bothered me is the 7-speed DCT. It's a little bit herky-jerky, and especially off the line, it's very slow to react. I would prefer the 8-speed automatic, which surprisingly you get if you go front-wheel drive Taos. But everything is laid out very well, very simplistic, and I mean that in a good way. It's not overly complicated because guess what? It doesn't need to be overly complicated. Sound deadening material, actually pretty quiet in the cabin. And remember, we have the optional 18-inch wheels, and that bright blue color, I promise you, nobody is gonna miss seeing you, that's for sure. All right, guys, pulling away from the light, on throttle, here we go. Nice handling with that 4Motion all-wheel drive system. Keeps you planted, that's the great news. But like I said, when you're getting offline, it's a little sluggish with the 7-speed DCT, but when you're on it, it gets up to speed and then shifts very smoothly. It's just sometimes in traffic when you're on and off throttle very quickly and you're not going very fast, it gets very kind of confused on what gear to be in. But definitely has good road holding capabilities, especially with the 4Motion all-wheel drive. Here we go, on throttle. See, there's a little bit of a pause, now it goes. Nice shift there. This would be great with the 2-liter. 2-liter turbocharged power in this thing would be quite substantial. I do have it in sport mode, like I said. Steering is nice and light, nothing too crazy, nothing too stiff. You can really throw it around. But like I said, I started going on throttle and then there wasn't anything there. There's no paddles on the back of the steering wheel to shift with. You have to actually shift with the lever itself if you want to shift manually. All right, guys, once again, pulling away from the light. It rides very, very compliant. It's not bouncy. It's not too stiff of a ride. And then you got all of the room that you could ever think that you would need in this subcompact. Because like I said, this is almost a compact crossover SUV. But not too shabby around town. And let me go ahead, let me put in normal mode here. So you can actually go to normal. And that will change a little bit how everything kind of shifts, the engine behaves, and all that good stuff. Throttle sensitivity. I prefer to have it in sport mode just because it seems to have a little bit quicker pickup, but even in normal mode, you still got a pretty quick pace for this smaller SUV. Visibility is really great out the front and out the back. And then you're gonna get some pretty decent return on your fuel economy, which is great. But hopefully this has been a nice overall view of what the Volkswagen Taos is bringing at the SE trim with the 4Motion all-wheel drive. We're gonna get back to where this all started and wrap it up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, been another great day with this Volkswagen Taos. I definitely want to thank everybody at VW USA for allowing Raiti's Rides access to this press fleet vehicle. Let me know what you think. Has Volkswagen done enough with this smaller size compact, that subcompact SUV known as the Taos, or would you rather go Corolla Cross or with one of the many other brands of vehicles out there? Let me know in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. Definitely got to give it up to the strongest behind the camera at all times, no matter what the weather conditions are. Show Lori some love in that comment section. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.